I did it just for you.
Hello, Alice. We have a very special night. It's a very special night. We have the Gnome King, Evan Carpenter, co-hosting once again,
Heyo.
and also a very, very special returning guest, none other than the Supreme herself. The great and powerful Molly Marie Kent is here, gracing us once again.
Thank you, dear.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to have you. Your band OmenBringer is releasing new album, Thick Darkness. That's thick with two C's, Thick Darkness.
Thick.
Available on
She's
midnight.
thick.
Dummy thick, one might
Dummy
say.
thick. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Available on midnight, 666. So that's very exciting. And then you have an album release show, 6/7 at the East Room.
That's right.
And a little birdie told me that that's just going to be all headlining, obviously, and a couple of DJs.
That's right. We're going to have DJs. We're going to have a dance party. We're going to have a titty cake. And we are going to be giving away a free copy of the record to everybody who attends. Will get a free ticket into the raffle to win a copy of the album on
Very
vinyl.
cool. Very, very nice. So I guess you'll probably be doing the album from start to finish.
That's right.
Cool, cool. Looking forward to it. That'll be a great, great show. Y'all are gonna fucking destroy East Room. It's gonna be packed out.
That's right. I'm pretty sure this is going to be our first of many sold out shows.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so buy your tickets ahead of time, Alice.
That's right.
Yeah. Don't want to get there and it's like, sorry, we're at capacity. The fire marshal's gonna come kick the door down.
Well, we've already sold like 30% of the tickets, and we
Wow.
still got almost a month left to go. So yeah, don't sit on it. Get a
That's
ticket.
that's impressive. You've come a long way. Like Omenbringer is a big, big name these days. It's
Thank
it's cool to see y'all grow. I don't want to say from humble beginnings because humble's not the right word. but but yeah. I don't want to give away all your secrets. You have this very you have this very you have a presence this but you are actually just a complete sweetie pie. You've always been very supportive of everything I've done and just very nice. So don't tell anybody, Alice, but Molly's actually very nice.
I am. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Yeah. How did Omenbringer get started?
You know, so this is funny because I can relate this to our next release. So, I had the idea for Omenbringer. I was starting to get into metal, and so I was really inspired because I was really bored because it was the pandemic. And so I started writing a whole bunch of songs. And a lot of our biggest songs, like Big Titty Goth Girlfriend and Tongues and Spells, they all came to me in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m. I got these ideas for these songs and just went in my notes in my phone and just started scribbling them out. And one of those songs that was really inspirational for me and was kind of like informing like the whole band and the whole like concept of the band was Big Titty Goth Girlfriend. and I wanted it to become this metal band that like girls were really into and like that was really classic metal inspired, but you know, that we could get like lots of girlies to come to the metal shows and that it would be like a theme and you get dressed up, you know, it's kind of like Kiss or like Ghost, you know, like a big you're gonna see a big show, big performance. And I had this idea for Big Titty Goth Girlfriend because there were these two girls that I knew, and they were from the internet, you know, it was like from Facebook or something. And I was like, man, these two girls are so hot. They're so beautiful. They're like Big Titty Goth Girlfriends, and I want to get to know them. And so I wrote this song about these two girls that I wanted to become friends with that I really liked. And it turns out that one of the girls is Corey's wife, the guitar player. Corey wasn't even part of the band. Like, I just wrote the song about his wife. And then the other lady is this really neat lady who has her own podcast. It's called it's Tune Time. I'm blanking out on the actual name of it right now, but her name is Liz. So I wrote the song about Liz and Cheyenne and how hot they were and how gorgeous their titties were and how I want to play with them and be their friends.
Nice. So you pretty much had the vision from the get-go and you just built from there.
Yes. So I was like, I want this to be the most famous metal band in the world. I want to take over the world. I want to have a show. I want to have fire. I want to have blood. I want to get burned alive on at the stake at the end of the show. Like I wanted it to be really big from the very beginning. And so when I assembled the band, you know, like I had like Corey is such an amazing guitar player and Spooky is an amazing guitar player. So it was really essential to me because I'm a huge fan of Thin Lizzy to have two guitar players that are essentially lead guitar players. And what's really interesting, I don't know if you know this about my band, but pretty much everybody in the band, Tyler, Spooky, and Corey, can all play drums, bass, and guitar.
Oh shit.
All three of them can play
That is
all of
so
those
cool.
and sing. All three of them can sing as well. And Mario, he's just a bass player. We throw him dog treats down the hallway whenever he's hungry or whatever. No, he is also brilliant, and he went to school for music and bass, and he can play upright bass. He can play upright bass with a bow, which he
Oh
was
shit.
not on the album actually. Corey played the bass on the album, but he Mario did appear later in the album in Stake, which is like kind of the big finale song of the album, and he plays upright bass with a bow on that track.
Very cool. Um, you're such a showman. Do you have a performance background?
Yes, yes. So I grew up singing and acting, and in school I was the lead in the high school play, you know, like went to all-state choir. And then I did burlesque in college, and my burlesque name was Chester Drawers.
Fuck yeah.
So they would say, not to be confused with a one night stand. She's Chester
That's
Drawers.
fucking awesome.
It was good. She was very cute and very kitschy, and I really enjoyed doing that. But there's no money in burlesque, and I was poor college student, and so I didn't have a bunch of money, and I'm not a seamstress, so I couldn't just like make clothes for all these outfits. So I kind of ran out of money and just like couldn't keep doing that, you know. But I was always really more into music than performing, you know. So I just wanted to combine both of those things. And so that's why our show is like a burlesque show, you know, music. It's just got a lot of performance because I have that kind of a background.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it is very much a performance. It's very enchanting. It's actually a ritual, I've noticed. I really
Mm.
noticed that the last time you played. Um, is you really are casting a spell quite intentionally. I see you. You're casting a spell on your crowd. And it works. It's effective.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for recognizing my magic.
Real recognize real.
Yes,
Pouring out for the homies.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah, ritual is something I've talked to my mom about a lot. Like my parents are very religious, and something that Christians do is they pass around wine and bread, uh, and it's representative of Jesus's blood and bread, blood and flesh. And I'm like, Mom, you do realize that's a blood ritual, right? And she's like, no, it's not. It's symbolic. We don't think it's actually blood. And I'm like, what do you think magic is? Like,
Yeah.
all it is symbolism. It's like the power of symbols. Is
It's so metal, like the body of Christ broken for you, the blood of
fuck
Christ
yeah.
spilled for you. Like, yeah.
It is metal as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah, I think and they would say it's like, like it's a holy thing. It's just it's not magic because it's Christian, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Jesus made water into wine, but that's not magic.
Yeah.
That's a miracle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's just a bunch of rhetoric to
He
change.
brought someone back from the dead, but that's not necromancy. That's a miracle.
Yeah.
We're
So
talking about two totally different things here.
yeah, different thing. I don't know how you could possibly confuse a miracle with magic. That's silly.
The Christians are silly.
Yeah, it's some silly people. Um,
Yeah.
they're all kind of silly.
Yeah.
All the religions kind of silly. Also, kind of true. Like my thing about Christianity is not when it was forced on me as a kid, but like as an adult, I have a healthy respect of the Bible. But my problem is Christians have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. It's like I understand the Bible way better than most 95% of Christians. And it's like they don't know what they're reading. Actually, they
They
don't read
don't
it.
read
That's
it.
the problem. Yeah,
They don't read it.
exactly.
Yeah.
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 If they did, they would be horrified by the stories.
Yeah.
I mean, a big part of actually reading it does require you to selectively ignore quite a bit of stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
like, what about that story about that guy whose wife like showed up at the door and he didn't let her in, and so all these men raped her, and then he was like, "Oh, I don't want her anymore," and just like they just like let her die in the street, like, and the story of Job where God's just like, "Let me just torture this guy incessantly to win this bet with the de devil," like.
Yeah.
This is their loving, all benevolent God, is this guy that like dooms people to hell forever for never hearing of his name and, all this stuff.
Mm.
So
yeah.
silly.
Christianity,
Silly.
it's kinky. Christianity's kinky. So the sky daddy gonna punish you. Do,
It's
do
very
good. Do
small dick
good.
energy. Very
It's like
small.
it's repressed sexual energy. It's very repressed.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole thing about the apple on the tree, like that's sex. That's oral sex.
Hmm.
Like they
Oh
tasted the
shit.
forbidden fruit.
Okay. I didn't.
That's a,
Hmm.
Hmm.
I've
I
never
think that
heard that specifically as oral sex. That's interesting.
I think so, like it's like oral sex, like they were unclean and like it's a metaphor for sex, like
Yeah. Where do you get inspiration from? Do you like, I guess more specifically, like how does inspiration strike you? Is it like, well, go ahead.
most of it has always been there. It's like
Yeah.
stuff from my whole life that has inspired me. But you know what a really big thing that inspired Omenbringer, our aesthetic, our music is Fantasia,
Mm.
specifically Night on Bald Mountain. That had a huge impact on me as a child, seeing that scene with like the devil and Walpurgisnacht and all these like demons coming forth from the earth, and how it's beautiful. It's got animation, which is my favorite thing, and then it's got Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain. And a trivia fact is that, obviously that song is in public domain. It's over 100 years old, and so we have our own version of that song on Thick Darkness, and it's called
Ooh.
The Long Walk. And I hired a guy. His name is Noah Grunberg. He is a master theremin player.
Oh
Oh,
shit.
And so
come
it is
on.
a theremin track that is completely 100% based on Night on Bald Mountain. And this guy is such a genius. He's such a nerd. I love him that he even got the original music from like the Library of Moscow to like write the music, to like learn the music.
Whoa.
That's so impressive. That is so cool.
It is one of the
Theremin.
best, coolest tracks on the album. And afterwards, I had my friend Casey Keller, who is a member of my favorite Nashville band. They're called the Anchor Thieves. Casey Keller has a bunch of Moogs and he has a Prophet 5, which you may know is the keyboard that was used in all the John Carpenter movies, the Stranger Things soundtracks. Like it's a very, very expressive, iconic sound. And I had him also play on that track. So it's got this big, enormous sound. And he also played on Thick Darkness, which is the namesake of the album, a little bit as well. So I would love to talk more about like the album and like all the
Yeah,
work that went into it because it was so much and there's like so many Easter eggs and I know people love that kind of stuff. So I'd love to talk about.
absolutely. I love that y'all are making like a real piece of art and crafting it that way. Because I mean, it's easy to just like, okay, we're releasing this, just rush it out. But y'all have taken your time with it, and yeah, you obviously really care about what you do, and it shows.
Yeah, I mean, we're not just slapping stuff out there like this. So the album, there's so much lore that goes along with this album. But if you don't mind, I'd love to like launch into it and
Yeah,
talk
go
about it.
ahead.
Please do.
Okay, so first of all, if you are a band and you release an album with less than 10 tracks, I'm really disappointed in you. It's lame. Like, unless the tracks are all 10 minutes long or like 7 minutes long, okay. But like, if you're gonna make something for customers for album, something for people to listen to and enjoy, I think it needs to be at minimum 10 tracks. So we made our 10 tracks, and then we also were like, you know what? We need 13 tracks. This needs to be 13 because of spooky, like whatever. And so we ended up writing the long walk and doing the long walk, the song with Theremin. And then I was like, well, that's 11 tracks. Why don't we just do two more and then it'll be 13 tracks. And so we wrote an instrumental piece and then we wrote an opening piece. So the instrumental and the opening piece, they bookend the album. So when you listen to the album from start to finish on a streaming service and repeat it, it will seamlessly like fade out and fade back in and sound like a loop. So it's really a concept album. You are supposed to listen to it start to finish, preferably with headphones because there's so much nuance in the headphones. And all of it is intentional. None of it was by chance. All of it was directed by me. And so the first of all, when we were gonna make the album, I was like, I really want somebody to work on this with us that worked on something that was important to me. So I reached out to this guy. His name is Kevin Szymanski, and he worked on my favorite Queens of the Stone Age album. It's called Songs for the Deaf.
Mm.
So it has all of their big hits on it. And I reached out to him and he was like, I'm game. And I was like, really? Okay. And so we flew him down from Wisconsin. He came in the studio with us. The studio was a bit of a disaster. It was really hard. The guy that runs the studio had the click track turned up so loud that all of us went home with a raging headache like every day. We were only able to get through the drums and the bass in the studio. Then the guitar players played all of their parts at home. And then we laid some of my vocals down at Spooky Studio. And then Kevin came back to town in September. So all this was June of last year when this started. Then Kevin came back in September and we did the rest of my vocals. And then I played all of the percussion on the album. So there's all kinds of like it sounds like crickets chirping, there's chimes, there's rain stick, there's all kinds of extra stuff on the album, little Easter egg stuff. And I played all of that myself, which I was really proud of.
Literal
And
bells and whistles.
there's yes, there's chains. There's chains in there. There's like the stuff that sounds like bones crunching on spells. So, and by the way, spells is like our little demon track. It's like our like problem child, like, and anytime, and it's like a curse, it's like every time we're working on spells, like it's something goes terribly wrong and it's really hard. But we finally like the new spells that's coming out is insane. And I had the music video recut. So we're gonna remove the music video that's currently on YouTube and we're gonna post the new one, which is like way scarier. And it's like the same footage, but the way that it's edited is like much scarier. So it's really cool. And the new track is so epic. But like, so yeah, I went to Kevin and I was like, listen, the inspiration, the sonic influence for this album is Dark Side of the Moon. I want it to pan all around your head. I want you to hear things in one ear and go across the other ear. So when you're listening with headphones, you will hear all of that nuance. And it was meticulously told to him what to do by me. I was like, I want you to take this ear and go all the way across the other ear, and like to down to the very finest detail. I had my hands all over this.
Huh.
Nice.
And
Nice.
so like, and another thing that I believe is like, there should never be any skips. No skips, no filler, all killer. So it's like, there are no skips on this album. I mean, it's like start to finish, just like crazy.
Mm.
And there's one song where like there's chimes at the beginning of it. It's called The Sorceress. And then at the end of it, there's chimes, the same chimes played backwards. And I like ripped a bong on that song and like we like recorded it and I had to like bring my bong and like light it and
That's
like
awesome.
it was really
Well, the
fun.
studio didn't have a bong for you?
No, the studio didn't even have a bathroom.
Dang.
I wrote a diary like while we were in the studio for posterity, and the like day two is called day two, pissing out back. And it was because I was just like going outside and peeing outside the studio.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But so like the album is supposed to like tell a story kind of, and it's about like, a lot of the songs are really all about like witchcraft and like me casting various spells on people. There's even a curse track. It's called Purple and Green. So at the end of Purple and Green, I did this just like epic curse, and I stole a little bit of the curse from another Disney film, which I will not name, but it's very
Hmm.
old and also inspires me. And there's just like so many little like Easter eggs in there. Like one of the tracks, My Coven, there's an underlying track underneath it, and I'm saying all of the names of my best friends, and we played it backwards. So you can't
Hmm.
tell, but it's like, you know, there's all kinds of just crazy stuff in there that like people will probably pick up on. And like 4:20 is like the times for My Coven, and then Thick Darkness is 8:40, which is 4:20 times two, so. And
Nice.
really, Thick Darkness is like the namesake of the album, and it's the most important song on the album because it's 8.5 minutes long, and it's meant to be like you're like lost in the bayou. You're like in a boat. It's very Credence inspired. And um it's just it's our magnum opus. It's like so good. And an Easter egg about that song is that the music was like kind of invented like by Corey, like with like sexy undertones and like they're like for porn. So we like spliced some porn songs that he wrote together to make that song, which
Oh
is
yeah.
so epic. And that's the song that I threw everything at. So when you listen to that one, I mean, it's got the Moog, it's got a banjo player. He's like a famous banjo player, and his name is Jeffrey Muller, and he has played banjo for one of my favorite artists. His name is Will Van Horn, and he is a master pedal steel guitar player.
Oh, cool.
And
You don't see a
so
lot of that.
no, I wanted to have some of that on the album too, but I don't know any pedal steel players, but we will for the next one. But then yeah, that song has every every little percussion instrument like that we had, just everything on it.
That's so cool. I was wondering how your music was going to translate to like an album because it is so performance heavy. Like y'all put on such an amazing show that I was wondering how that was going to work. But it sounds like you figured out a way to do that by just throwing everything at it. It's so
It's just
extra.
like two experiences. It's going to be
Yeah.
two different experiences.
Mm.
Yeah. Because yeah, you can't like logistically you can't make as big of a sound as you can on the album as you can performing it. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you think the performance is good, just wait till you hear what we did in the studio.
Very cool. That's
Hey,
exciting.
actually, I got a quick question for you too. You mentioned a diary that you were writing about recording the album. Do you have more like I don't know, production tapes and documentation in mind? Like, did you do a lot of that for this?
So I had really wished that we would have somebody in the studio documenting that with us, but we didn't. We took very few pictures but I did do a full diary for both times we were in the studio. And my goal is we are going to have this wonderful guy. His name is Alex Settle. He did the edit for Spells that I mentioned, and he also edited Big Titty Goth Girlfriend, which is coming out
Mhm.
very soon at the end of this month. So he is going to come to the full length album show, shoot the entire show, and then we will later release all of this live footage, which this is very important. My publicist wanted us to, a lot of people that are like my little industry friends have told me, like, we've got to get more live photo video of you guys because really professional live video of you guys because your show is a big deal.
Mm.
So we're investing in that. But then my goal is to, after the fact, make a little mini documentary about the making of Thick Darkness and use footage and photos and the diary and as much as we can, as much as we have from that experience, just to make a little like, 8 to 10 minute long movie.
Sure,
Right on.
sure.
That's so cool. And you've got after this, like you've got more music coming out later down the line as well. Is that is that
It
right?
is our hope to have a 7-inch for Halloween
Mm.
with Monsturbation, which is a song that Spooky wrote. He wrote the melody, and then I wrote a song basically I'm like a lady Dr. Frankenstein, and I'm making me a sexy wife. And my favorite lyrics in the whole song are hips and lips and tits and ass and clit the color of a pale pink pearl.
Oh yeah.
She will be a perfect being. I cannot wait to fuck her back to death.
That man, yeah, that
Dude,
really
like,
hit when you played it at Cobra. That was fucking sick.
People love that one. I love that one. I can't wait to record it. But then the B side of that is going to be a song that I wrote about the Headless Horseman.
Oh, nice.
dude, underrated like spooky guy. No, he does not get enough credit.
It's the
Love
Doulahan.
him. And like a lot of this is like a lot of our influence is classical music. I steal from classical music all the time.
Mm.
That's so cool.
Bach and Beethoven. There's a direct ripoff of Für Elise in the opening track, and you are very savvy if you catch it. You know that song very well, but like it's directly from it. So if anybody is like, and that's part of it is like to make some stuff that's vaguely familiar to people, but to turn it into a new thing is like what makes a lot of music really, grab people is because it's somehow vaguely familiar, but it's so different that they don't even recognize it.
I was gonna ask you what your writing process is like, but it sounds like it's different every song.
Yeah, it is. And
Yeah,
our influences come from all over.
yeah. It sounds like Spooky brings stuff to the table. Like everyone's doing their part.
Yes, everybody will come and bring a lot of stuff, but one thing that's really wonderful and that makes us work so well is that everyone respects that this is my vision
Hmm.
and that they listen to me when I say, okay, we're going to change this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this instead, we'll do this, do this, do this, because they just know that my brain is just like cranking and working on it. But we talked about this, like you can't have a democracy in a band. You have
No.
to have a leader.
Yes.
And so our band is run like a pirate ship,
Yep.
and I am the captain. I'm the
That's
captain.
look at me. I am the captain.
I am the captain now. And that's me. And then we got, Spooky, we got Corey at the helm, we got Spooky that's at the rudder, and we got fucking Tyler in the crow's nest, and Maria's the cook. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Maria's the oarman. So yeah, like they all 100% like what I say goes and listen to me, but I always take in, everything they bring me is like almost always a good idea, almost always like, oh hell yeah, let's run with this. Like we work and collaborate together to make every song into a collaboration of all of us.
That I think that's very true what you said about you can't have a democracy in a band. And the bands I've interviewed that do feel like it's a democracy don't last. I've literally seen it happen. Like what's y'all's writing process like? And the ones that are like, well, it's my vision and people add things to it. It's like that's how actually I would say 100% of the time that's how it works. But then people delude themselves and then feelings get hurt, and it's like that doesn't happen if you establish from the beginning what everyone's roles are. So yeah.
And it just speaks to like the level of like ego that my bandmates have. They are just such down to earth good people, and they do not put their egos out front. Like none of them are like, well, I'm not getting enough spotlight or I'm not getting enough, you know, because first of all, I go out of my way to make sure that everybody has their own spotlight, and then also like they're just magnificent people that don't begrudge me anything. They listen to me. I'm the supreme. What I say, they believe in me, and I've made all of them into believers into this project. I mean, all of us operate under the assumption that we are all going to be quitting our jobs and going on the road
Mhm.
and doing this band and this music like as our job.
I mean,
Hmm.
it's all about owning it, you know? It's like um the like imposter syndrome that envelops so many people is like that's the only thing that holds people back is not being confident about themselves. Like
Yeah,
I was just talking
100%.
to we interviewed a flight attendant recently, and I was talking to Caroline about this. Like literally anything is possible outside of like I've tried, which is why I say this, but I don't think you can break physics. I don't, no matter how badly I want, I can't fly or shoot fire out of my hands. Um, at least not yet. But beyond that, like literally anything is possible. You can do whatever you set your mind to. And I guess my next leading into that, my next question is like, do you have any advice for young artists?
What you just said
Hmm.
is don't put a limitation on yourself. Like if you have a dream, if you have a vision, like go and chase it.
Yeah,
And yeah, if you want, I agree. Like as corny as that stuff sounds, like you are the only person in your way. Your fear is the only thing keeping you from going and becoming the person that you want to be.
that's so true.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's that's very inspiring. Like I have no doubt that y'all are gonna blow the fuck up for real. And you're going to inspire a lot of people. So like it's cool that you say that and that you do have that mindset about it. I think there's a lot of things that make people feel small and insignificant in this world. And sometimes all you need is to hear that. Um, so if you're watching this, follow your dreams and don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks because
Yes, because the people that like what you're doing when you're being really authentic and crazy, those are your people.
yeah.
The people that want you to tone it down, those are not your people.
Hmm.
And that's why people that come to OmenBringer show, they're like making friends because we're all like weirdos. It's like, oh, my friend, like that's the environment that we want to create, an environment that's inclusive to women, to trans women, to people of color. Like we want a really badass like circle. The coven is like very strong, very cool, and so we don't want any fuckheads coming to our shows. We don't want any like so we try to make it really apparent like that this is what we're about and like this is what you should expect. But like Big Titty Goth Girlfriend, for example, that music video, it has all types of people in it that participated. Like I really wanted to show like all types of people to be into this kind of music. And I even try, it's not perfect, but I even learned like the sign language for BTGGF. So you'll see me like signing BTGGF in the chorus. And that's like for the deaf people, because deaf people even like music too, especially metal music because of the double bass, like you'll see deaf people at shows like all the time just having fun, like in their community and stuff, even if they can't hear the music, which is so amazing. So like that's the dream, like to have as
Yeah.
many people, like cool people, like included in that circle as possible.
I really hate that I missed that video shoot. Like I took the day off and got all dolled up to come be in your video. And I even took some Molly ahead of time because I thought that was funny. The irony. Uh, but I got all the way there. I got to the studio and I parked in the wrong spot. There was like some train tracks and this big pothole. I don't know if I told you all this. I told you a little bit, but there was like this big it was like these train tracks, and on both sides of it was just a pit. And like I went over it, and as I was coming off of it, I heard bam, like the bottom of my car hit something, and it like immediately I lost power steering. Like I was like I couldn't turn the wheel very well,
Oh
and I got
no.
out of the car and looked at it, and it was dripping, and I didn't
Oh no.
yeah, and I didn't know what the issue was, and I'm like I could go in, but I don't know if I sit here and go inside and come back out later, I don't know if my car is going to run at all.
Did
And
you rip the oil pan?
um, I thought maybe that yeah, it was just like a break in a line or the oil drummer pan. I don't know car shit, but the what ended up happening is I broke the rack and pinion. So like it was like a $2,000 fix, and
Oh
I ended up having to get another car. But yeah, it was just a lot of circumstances. It was weird. I've noticed that usually when I do like acid or mushrooms, even Molly, sometimes there's like intention behind it. It's like I'm going to do something specific, like ritual.
no.
Um, and uh, I've noticed that like weird shit happens to me when I take acid. And that's not, I don't mean like I see things. Like what I mean is like in actual reality around me, weird synchronicities happen. Like none of my stuff works. Like my phone will just not work. All electronics fail. And
Hmm.
also like I was going to do a ritual with a friend one time, and like I took her some acid. I was like, take this. I'm gonna go take a shower and come back. And so I left, and then like I dropped and got in the shower, and then I was leaving to go back over there. And when I opened my front door, all of the doorknob just came out, and the door was locked. So like and I'm like, this is an omen. Like this is I'm not supposed to go do what I'm about to go do, but I went and did it anyway, and it went like the spell backfired really hard.
Oh
Uh,
no.
it was bad. But yeah,
Oh no.
yeah, it's crazy. Life is weirder than anyone thinks it is.
Stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Life is
Uh,
stranger than fiction.
one of my favorite quotes is what's that guy? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. What's that guy's name?
Hunter S.
Hunter S.
Thompson.
Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson said, "I learned a long time ago that fiction is far strange, or reality is far stranger than anyone's imagination." And like that is just so true.
Do you want to hear my favorite quote that I heard recently that is
Yeah,
my new mantra that I'm
I'd
living
love to.
by? Don't accept any criticism from anyone whom you don't respect.
Hmm.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
So
that's true.
that one's like, I like it. I like it. I'll take it. So that's my new
Yeah,
mantra.
that's a good one. It's very true. I think like even as a kid, like I just knew things. I'm sure you can relate because you're a very conscious person. But like I've always known things, and like adults when I was a kid would tell me things, and I'm like, I don't really agree. And you always have to trust yourself first. Like that,
Yes.
listen to the people like like you said, don't take criticism from people you don't respect, but maybe, do take criticism from people you do respect. But like, yeah, you got to reserve that for people.
Yeah, you should protect your energy at all costs,
Mm,
because when you worry or when, you suffer twice. So you don't have to suffer twice, especially for if someone is like sending hatred your way or whatever is happening. Like, just don't give them any space in your mind. And I learned it through that. Did you see the Netflix special that came out with Jonah Hill trying to introduce his therapist to the world, and his therapist invented this technique called the tools?
no.
It's really interesting. It's really good. It's called Stutz on Netflix, and the therapist's name is Phil Stutz. And he tried to make a documentary about Phil Stutz and sort of about his life, and it had to change directions like halfway through, and it makes a lot of sense. But Stutz invented this thing, and it's called the maze. And it's when someone puts you in this maze, like someone upsets you or makes you angry or hurts you, and you're like can't stop thinking about them, and you're going around in circles in the maze.
Hmm.
And he invented this thing, and it's to help you get out of that mindset and to help you get out of the maze. And he has a way of doing it, but he encourages you to invent your own tools
Mm,
to help you in these situations. So when I experienced this like recently came to me, like a person that was really, really important in my life, a trans person, killed themselves and passed away several years ago. It's a very important person to me that I love and I think about all the time. And, I'd like always want to honor their memory. And I just feel like they look out for me sometimes. And so I like envision this person with their hands on my shoulders. And we're walking towards the hedges. Like he's helped me, it's like behind me and like got my shoulders, and it's just like helping me like walk straight through the maze, kind of like in the movie The Labyrinth, where the little worm is like, "Oh, you can't see the entrance, it's right in front of you." And it's because it's a perspective, right? And so she can't see that there's actually a right and left turn right in front of her. It looks like it's just a hedge right in front of her. And so they guide me, and I just like melt all the hedge away, and I like walk through the hedge, and sometimes the hedge like scratches my face. And it's very important to visualize all of this like in your brain. And like, yes, maybe these people have their little barbs in you, and they're scratching you a little bit as you come out of these, but then you eventually walk out of the maze into the sunshine and you're free. So you have to like get yourself free from the maze and from
yeah,
the people and the scenarios and the situations that are hurting you and making you cyclically worry or think about things in a negative way.
that's man, I got to check that out. That's that hits very close to home.
It's really good. There's many tools that they talk about in the movie that are so good, and the book is like really short because he never wanted to write a book. So this other guy that became his disciple helped him like co-write a book with him. So it's really short. It's like 120 pages, 150 pages, like teeny tiny book. But they give you all these examples and they give you all these tools, and then you can also go and invent your own tools for whatever situations come up in your life.
Very Prometheus or Lucifer is like save yourself, liberate yourself. That's why
And
that's my
yeah,
God is
and they
bring on
say that
mankind.
there's nothing you are going to always have in your life, uh, constant pain and constant work, and you will have to work through those things.
That's life.
And to me, I replace the word pain with fear,
Mm.
because that is what holds me back from doing things is fear. And so like you're always going to have to work on that forever. But that's how you grow, and everybody should be continuing to grow and not be sitting in a state of stasis forever and ever.
Hmm.
That's really cool for you to say too, because you have an unearthly, very confident aura. So it's kind of refreshing for people, I'm sure, to think that you also experience that. We all go through fear.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah, I've been in that maze before. Um I was hung up on like the same person for a really long time. And all my advice for that is just focus on yourself. Um, like you if just do your thing, like grind. Not, grind for yourself though. Don't grind for the man. But yeah.
What's
Grind
best for you
for the
is what's
man.
best for everyone involved.
Yeah. There's I think something I tell bands all the time is like don't be in competition with anyone else because Nashville can be really clicky. I'm sure you've seen it. And something I preach a lot on the show is like we will have one unified scene here, and that's not up for debate. Like that's not an I'm not willing to discuss that. We will have one unified collective that is groovy. Obviously, we'll exclude the people who are a problem.
Who suck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like, don't ever be competitive with people because you're not in competition with anyone if you don't think you are. Like, I'm not in competition with anyone because no one can compete with me.
that's
It's
right.
yeah, but the minute you make it competitive, it's now a competition. You've made it that way. That you've made that your reality, and now it's true. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's all a collaboration. We're all here for the it's yeah, it comes down to what your intention is. Are you here for good reasons? Are you here for rock and roll and a good time? Or are you here to like push other people down? Nashville is I tell people this when they come in from out of town, like bands from LA and New York. It's like this is not where you come to make it. Nashville is not the place to be a musician and like cut your teeth. This is the hardest place to cut your teeth because OmenBringer exists and there's a million other bands that like you can't hang. Like so you just gotta accept, just take what you can get, be nice to everyone. So if you're playing a bill with another band, stick around for their set. Like don't snub anyone
Duh.
because you never know
Yeah.
who's coming up next.
Yeah.
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 Hey, speaking of which, I want to ask a question based on that. Are there any bands or performers that you would hope to collaborate with in the future with OmenBringer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I want Megan the Stallion to do a feature on Big Titty
Fuck
Goth
yeah,
Girlfriend.
dude. Oh my god, let's fucking go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
That's the
Ah.
best answer.
I love her so much. And she's perfect for it. She would
Yeah.
love it. And she's a nerd. She's into anime. She's into all that kind of stuff. Like she will love it. Like I'm really hinging our success, like not our success, but hinging our success. But like I am really placing all my bets on Big Titty Goth Girlfriend to become this viral video sensation that goes nuts, because it's just so fun and campy, and we're not taking ourselves too seriously. Like there's I invented this gimmick that we have, and it's going to be in every music video that we ever have. Tyler, the drummer, is going to get killed like Kenny. And
They
so
killed
in this
Kenny.
music, he is our Kenny. And so in this music video, he gets killed by his fiance, who is a stripper with huge titties, and she comes up to him and smothers him to death with her titties, and he falls down dead. And it's the greatest thing ever, and I love it. And so there's like lots of funny stuff like in it, but like yeah, I would love to collaborate with Sasami. I actually have a list. You want me to like grab it really quick and I'll
Yeah, go
rattle
for it.
all these off because
Shout
it's a
out a
really
couple. You never know who's listening.
I write like here,
Is,
let me look at my little collaborators list.
is that the
Met
best way to die? Is-
the best way to die, titty smothered?
yeah, I think that might be
Yeah,
the winner.
titty or pussy smothered, whatever.
Sorry, I think I cut you
Megan
off. Go ahead.
Megan the Stallion, Cardi B, Caliuchis, Santa Gold,
Ooh,
Sasami, Ghost,
Mm.
Sevdaliza, Wolfmother, Josh Homme, Chromeo, Massive Attack, and Damon Albarn.
Oh, Chromeo would be crazy.
I
That's a good
know.
pull.
Oh, that would be so cool.
I
That would be
love that.
so cool.
I love that you know who Kali Uchis is. She's a big one for me, and it's a deep
Sh-
cut for some people. Not everyone knows who she is.
She's a little spooky ooky too, so
Dude, oh my god, she's amazing. Remember the stuff I discovered her through the stuff she did with Tyler the Creator back in the day.
I love that song. The
So
one with
good.
the music video, The Sun Will Come Out. That one.
Yeah. And
After
that's
the Storm. That's the song.
yeah, and that's got fuck, who else is on that?
Is it Bootsy Collins?
Yes. Yes, it's Bootsy Collins on there. He says, "You better look both ways before you cross my mind."
Before You Cross My Mind.
So good. It's such a
Yeah,
good.
baby. Yeah, he is amazing.
Oh, cool. I hope you collaborate with all of them
Hmm.
Hopefully all at once.
at the same time.
Yes, we are the world 2025 with all of those people.
Well,
Hell yeah,
Alice.
dude. Expand that coven. Love it.
I know. We're
Well,
going big.
Alice, be on the lookout 6-6 for Thick Darkness, and definitely make your way out to East Room. Get your tickets now. Um, I'll try and I'll get a ticket link, put it in the description.
There you go.
Look
Come
at
get
I
your
that.
might.
hands on one of these. One of 266, but only 240 will be available for sale. So
Nice.
very few in there. Hand signed, numbered. They are going to have three special things inside them that are unique to this pressing that will not be in any other pressing: a sticker, a postcard, and a unique Polaroid of me, very sexy Polaroids of me that we've taken. They're very scandalous. So you want one.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of cool merch. You got
Thank you.
the Comrags.
Comrags, yeah, we're out of
Oh,
those. Too
dang.
bad. Those sold immediately. We sold all of those immediately and
I'm
they're
not
gone.
surprised. Well,
We'll make more.
Molly, I love you. You're an inspiration. You're amazing. I can't wait to see what you got cooking.
I love you. That's what makes all of this work, is all the
Yeah,
love.
that's how it's got to be.
That's right.
Uh, Speaking of love, it's the opposite of fear. Everyone thinks love is hate is the opposite of love, but it's fear, and that seems to be a theme tonight. Is negate the fear and embrace the love. So,
That's right. That's right.
thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thanks, Evan.
And thanks,
Yeah, no,
Evan.
thank you guys for having me too. It was great talking to you, Molly.
And
Yes.
we will
Hail
see.
yourselves and Satan.
And we'll
Fuck yeah,
see.
big installation, dude.
My goose-lation.
Oh man, you guys are nerds.
Whatever. Yeah. Duh.
I am too.
Got Lord of the Rings songs too. Like we got a lot of stuff
Hell
for
yeah,
like that.
that's awesome. All right, Alice, we'll see you next week.
Love
Bye.
you.